Today I'll be interviewing Dr. Sachin Patel. Functional medicine and lifestyle medicine are Dr. Sachin Patel's true passions. Dr. Patel uses functional medicine as a platform to transform the lives of his patients in the Cincinnati and Toronto area. He also serves as an author, speaker, health educator, and corporate health consultant to organizations around the world. Dr. Patel is highly recognized by both large corporations and within his community as a rare breed. Dr. Patel is also a proud father, husband, environmental advocate, author, and foodie. His passion is to help people achieve greatness through health because health is the vehicle that allows one to serve their family and their community. Dr. Patel founded the Living Proof Institute as a platform to showcase the benefits of functional medicine combined with lifestyle interventions. His philosophy is that nothing can fix your body better than it can fix itself. He employs his expertise as a functional medicine provider and empowers his patients to make lifestyle changes to produce long-term results. Please welcome Dr. Patel.
Hi, everyone. Hi, George. Thanks for doing this.
Dr. Patel, thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us for this very informative webinar. I've been looking forward to this for a while.
Myself as well. Thank you for having me, and thanks for putting this whole project together. I'm really grateful to be part of this.
Thank you. Sachin, I was wondering if you can give us some additional background on yourself.
Sure. So for those of you that don't know me, I started off as a chiropractor, specifically doing sports chiropractic. And in 2006, I was on the news as a result of helping people with tennis elbow. And we ended up getting on the evening news that fine day in Cincinnati, Ohio. And we had a ton of people call us to make appointments the day of and the day after. But none of these people had elbow pain except one. One lady had elbow pain, but it was caused by rheumatoid arthritis. And at the time, I was working with professional athletes and Olympic athletes and, elite runners and marathoners. And these people were pretty healthy as it was. I mean, they were complaining about not being able to run a sub 3-hour marathon. So a totally different demographic that I was dealing with at the time. And now, as a result of this TV interview, I was presented with a whole different set of patients, a whole different demographic of patients started coming into our office after watching this. And, it was really a stark difference between what I was used to working with and what was presenting in the office now as a result of this. And what ended up happening was all these people came in and I had nothing to do. I had nothing to offer them. But as I started doing their histories, I realized that their doctors really didn't have anything to offer them either. And they were tired and frustrated and their health was deteriorating. And of course, when you can't help people that are looking for help, it feels like someone's punched you in the stomach. So what I realized was that here's an opportunity to really make a difference and to make an impact in people's lives in a way that nobody else is. And at the same time, I was kind of dealing with some of my own health challenges. So I started looking for some answers, and I discovered functional medicine through one of my mentors now, Dr. Ron Grisanti. He was presenting case studies via emails that I was getting from him. I was somehow got on his subscriber list, and he was sending me emails about case studies of people that he was helping. And as a result of reading these case studies, a lot of them resemble the patients that I was seeing that came in. And so then I started actually learning his materials and took his first course that he offered and became part of the first graduating class of Functional Medicine University. And the rest is history. It's really transformed my life for the better. And it allowed me to transform my personal health, and it also allowed me to transform the health of my patients. And of course, there's a learning curve. So at first I was, still learning and still getting acclimatized to helping these patients. But over the last 8 years, I've just learned so much, and it's really allowed me to, and positioned me in a great place to help as many people as I want, because it's incredible how poorly our clients or our community is being served by our medical system. And it's not to say that the doctors and nurses and people who are part of the system are poorly intentioned. They just don't have the right tools.
Exactly.
And what we think is the right tool is usually a drug or a surgery, but the right tool is the patient themselves. If we can get the patient to buy into the idea that they're the best and really the only healer of their body, then we can get some amazing outcomes, because now we tap into the healing potential of the body. So that's kind of a little bit of background about me, and that's how I got in this. That's the short story, but it's been an amazing journey and an amazing ride, and it's been quite transformative for myself, my family, my practice, and of course, my patients.
That's wild. So if I understand it, you've actually been practicing functional medicine for about 8 years now. Is that correct?
Yes, I've been practicing functional medicine for 8 years. And really what's interesting about chiropractic and functional medicine, they fit like a glove in hand. So the basic fundamentals of chiropractic, most people actually don't know this, but chiropractic is based in three principles: that our health is determined by how we eat, move, and think. And so chiropractic essentially has become watered down over the years to only focus on structural care. But in chiropractic school, we get training in nutrition, we get training in exercise and physiology and biochemistry and microbiology. So we get all this training, but we never really use it because our scope of practice has been watered down to simply structural care. But functional medicine incorporates the same principles, how we eat, move, and think, but it adds a quantitative aspect of testing that helps us identify where these, the subtle chemical imbalances might be, or where things might be interfering with a person's health, like pathogenic infections and stealth infections and nutrient deficiencies, things like that. So it's basically a refined version of chiropractic, if you will, because we still incorporate the structural aspects, the mental and emotional aspects, and the dietary aspects into our care.
I wasn't aware of the extent of chiropractic medicine, and I guess I, along with a lot of my colleagues out there, just thought it's just a matter of just joint manipulation. That's it. So I'm glad you definitely shed some light on that.
Yeah, chiropractic is not a procedure. We've, in procedure-based medicine, which is what we have today, everything is basically distilled down to a procedure. That's how you bill, right? You bill for a procedure. When you go to the doctor bills the insurance or the government for a procedure that they performed. But chiropractic is really a lifestyle. So what happens when the patient leaves your office as a chiropractor and as a functional medicine practitioner is, I would argue, more important than what happens when they're in your office. So you're just providing strategy, just like if you're a personal trainer, right? You could train someone, but if they have the wrong lifestyle and the wrong diet and the wrong mindset, when they leave your gym or when they leave your office, they're not going to get any better, right?
That's
it's because what brought them in there was that very thing, that lifestyle, that diet, and that mental attitude.
Exactly. Yeah. Dr. Sachin, so what type of clients do you currently work with? Are we talking like morbidly obese, professionally athletes, those with special needs, or a little bit of everything?
You know what? The principles that we use basically are universal. And I know that's a very general and vague answer, and the marketing people would kill me for that, but the fundamentals are the same. So our goal is to remove interference and to promote health and to teach people the principles of lifestyle. So if I equate my patients to a plant, right? And a plant has, regardless of the state of health of the plant, whether it's thriving or whether it's wilting, the requirements are the same, right? So if you have a professional athlete, we use the same principles and the same testing because we don't treat the disease. What we do is we promote health and optimize physiology. And that's what creates health. That's what promotes an individual's health. So really what we do works across the gamut for any individual of any age. And we've seen that. We've proven that through the number of patients and the types of patients that we've helped with things like cancer, with autoimmune diseases, with thyroid disorders, with arthritis, with digestive problems, young children who have ADD and attention disorders, and older people who have chronic degenerative conditions. We've been able to help them as well. So really the principles apply across the board to anyone.
I see. And I noticed that your intake form for new patients is probably one of the most comprehensive that I've ever come across. So after the patient has filled it out, how do you determine which direction to go in?
So the first thing really is we look at a few things. It's a 43-page form, but there are certain pages that I look at. And the last page is the readiness assessment. So the first thing I look at is that, the willingness for the patient to make changes and modifications to their diet, their lifestyle, and their readiness to jump in and initiate and execute these modifications. The other thing we look at is whether a patient is a good fit based on their presentation. And let me make it very clear: there's always a time and place for Western and allopathic medicine. And there's been cases where we've had cancer patients come to us on their deathbed and they want us to help them. And of course, there's things that we can do to make them more comfortable, but it's probably too late at that point. I've had a few cases where the patient actually came to us, they did the testing, they were great candidates for care, they did the testing, and they actually died before we got the test results back.
Wow.
So sometimes people just wait too long. And these people have usually exhausted all their options, and then they come to see us, and I'm scratching my head and I'm just like, why didn't you come see us 5 years ago?
Exactly.
Or much earlier, instead of after having all these things fail you and having all these body parts cut out and poisoned your body with chemotherapy and all these medications, and then you want to try to fix it. It's just, it doesn't make sense the way, kind of the timeline of when people end up seeing us in some instances. So really we can help anyone and everyone, but the readiness that they have is very important. Whether, whether their condition is something that's acute or chronic makes a difference in our decision making, whether they're a good client or not. And then also we work with their doctors. So we never replace a person's family doctor. We actually complement the care, because there's a huge gray area between when somebody's perfectly healthy and when they have a disease state.
Yes.
So it's in that gray area that the patient really gets no help, because based on the diagnostic criteria that the doctor has, they're basically told everything is normal. Or everything's fine, there's nothing wrong with you. But people might even feel miserable. You don't go to the doctor if everything's normal, right? You go to the doctor if you're not feeling well and you feel like something needs to be done to help you in terms of improving your health. But what ends up happening for a lot of people for many years, they go from doctor to doctor, from visit to visit, and they're told that nothing's wrong with them. And it's because of the criteria that we have in medicine is very black and white. And
that's right, yeah.
What happened with the litigious society we live in is, and the standard of care that we've created for doctors is, if a patient doesn't meet this artificially created criteria, then there's nothing the doctor can do, right? And so there's really not much help doctors can offer until the patient meets the criteria for a disease. And by that point, you're at the edge of the waterfall, and you're gonna do whatever it takes to not fall off the waterfall. So now you've got a person who's in a desperate position to try to get well again, and they're at the edge of this waterfall, ready to fall off. So they're gonna take whatever rope is thrown to them, no matter what that rope is attached to.
That's
and the problem with that is that that's the only solution that's presented to them, and they go back to the same person that watched them get sick their entire life, and not do anything and tell them everything was okay. They go back to the same person to try to get well again. It just doesn't make sense.
No, not at all.
Right? So yeah, it's a really interesting paradigm of health we're stuck in. But I see that changing. Obviously, you see that changing. I think people were promised, especially people in their 60s, were promised answers, and answers haven't been delivered. And as we get through this interview, I think people realize why those answers will never come in the form of a drug or a surgery, because that's just not how the body works. That's not how biology works.
That's right. Yeah. And it is unfortunate that sometimes people find out about you and the great work that you do when it's too late. Maybe they weren't aware of people like you out there, or they just weren't ready for the message, or in some cases, and I hate to say this, but sometimes they're brainwashed by their current physicians, and it's only one way of looking at something. Like, either you listen to your physician or you just try to do things on your own.
Yeah, the biggest challenge is what we have to realize is the most valuable real estate on the entire planet is up here. Okay? It's the human mind. And this is why marketers and big pharma and all these companies spend billions upon billions of dollars on marketing, right? Because they want to get up here, and they want to convince you that this is the paradigm and this is the only way to look at your health. And the problem with that is that people like us don't have billion-dollar budgets, because we're private, we're private practices. We're sole, or maybe groups of individuals. We're not big corporations that are funded by shareholders and stockholders that allow us to do this kind of marketing, right? And the other thing too is, like, when you make a system that's so toxic and so dangerous that when you make that system free, right, then everything else seems expensive.
That's right.
Somebody comes to me and they say, I tell them, listen, a 6-month program is a couple $1,000s, which it really is not a lot of money, in my opinion, based on the value that you get in return.
Exactly. Which is life-changing for the next how many years of your life. Right.
And when I tell them when they say it's expensive, I tell them a few things. One, I say, compared to what, right? Because your reference is $0. So everything's going to seem expensive to that. But you've had access to healthcare your entire life, and you're still sitting here in my office.
Exactly.
So tell me where that's gotten you up to this point, right?
That's right.
And secondly, I tell them, and I love my patients, and I joke around with them. I'm very sarcastic, but very honest at the same time. I say, the cheapest thing, if you want to save money, just drop dead, because the most expensive thing to do is live, right? And so if your goal is to say stockpile as much money as possible, then, just drop debt at 65, right? Once you stop earning money, then stop spending it, right?
Mhm.
And shorten your lifespan. I tell them, listen, if you work with me, it'll cost you a couple of $1,000s, but it's going to cost you a lot more in the back end because you're going to live a lot longer,
Yeah.
right? And that's going to cost you tens of thousands of dollars a year, depending on what kind of lifestyle you have. So
Yeah.
if all you want to do is save money, then this isn't the right approach for you. If you want to live a long, healthy, productive, contributory life, then let's get healthy. Let's
Mhm.
focus on getting you healthy. And what we impart with our clients or into our clients is a life skill. So you're not going to need me for the rest of your life. We're going to
Yeah.
teach you how to take care of yourself so that you don't need us or you don't need your doctor as much moving forward in the future. And that doesn't mean that you're going to be immune to any health issues, but at least when something comes up, you're going to know how to take better care of yourself and your family.
So it's
And
just better earned and like,